Harford County Living presents Conversations with Rich Bennett.
Slow pitch
I was just trying to be sexy part of the work, and I don't know if you're going to like this answer.
Okay. No, it's fine.
The truth is...
What if your biggest failures became the foundation for your greatest success? Today on Conversations with Rich Bennett, I'm talking with a man whose story reads like a movie script, except it's 100% real. Ken Miller went from being an Ivy League student to living on the streets from addiction and incarceration to becoming a nationally respected speaker, author, business coach, and founder of Denali FSP. His new book, Becoming Ken, isn't just a memoir. It's a manual for transformation. Ken holds nothing back, sharing raw honesty, hard-won wisdom, and a deep belief that no story is beyond redemption. If you've ever struggled with your past or felt stuck in your circumstances, this episode will remind you that redemption is real and that your scars might just be the roadmap to your purpose. So buckle in, because this conversation is going to move you, challenge you, and maybe even change the way you see your own story. So Ken, first of all, I want to welcome you, man. And we've been talking for almost a half hour before we even hit record. It's like I've been talking to a long lost brother or something, you know? Uh-huh. But anyways, I want to dig right into this because your story is nothing short of extraordinary. I mean, from National Merit Scholar and Ivy League graduate to homelessness and incarceration. Mm-hmm. So can you walk us through the moment you realized you needed to make a change and how that decision set everything in motion for you?
Well, unfortunately, I said that about 100 times on my journey. I need to make a change.
Right.
When you got guns pointed at you, when you have knives to your chest, and you're going to prison for the third time. Yeah, I've said that a lot of times. But if you want the last time, September 22nd, 2004, that's when I call that a pivot moment. There was another one that was very important, but that was the first pivot to the life before and the life after. It's like BC and AD, or now we call it CE, but there's a point before and after. And on September 22nd, 2004, I found myself, as usual, homeless. I was living in a closet. Right. And I... came out of the closet got that one wrong. I was told to leave the closet by the landlord because I was in the broom closet of this rooming house. And I went to try to get treatment one more time. I was going in for my 14th inpatient treatment. And I needed a couple dollars for the bus trip from Reno to Seattle, Washington. And I sold.
That's a good trip.
Yeah, it is a good trip. It's about 2 days on the bus.
Yeah.
But I had no money. I hadn't eaten in probably a day or two because you don't eat when you're a crack addict. You don't. Yeah. You lose your appetite. Same thing with meth. And I went to sell a $10 rock of crack cocaine. I was arrested, sold it to the undercover. And I was arrested for sales of a controlled substance. I was sentenced to 6 years in the penitentiary, but I was guaranteed by the judge, Judge Hardesty, that he would give me the habitual criminal statute the next time I came into his courtroom, which was 25 to life. I was guaranteed that.
Wow.
This was an Ivy League graduate, and I was very successful at points in my journey. I was wearing Hickey Freeman suits. I was wearing Alan Edmond wingtips, old man shoes. When I was 21, 22, I was wearing silk suspenders and silk bow ties. Because I looked good, I smelled good, talked well. This is when I got out of college. And I was working for Kodak. I worked for 3M and making $50,000 a year in 1986, which was a lot of money for a 22-year-old. Okay. driving my Pontiac station wagon. I had it going on. And, within, a couple of years of getting out of college, I had relapsed. And it was to be a 21-year journey.
Wait a minute. So you were using even while in college?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, but there's a difference. Okay, there's levels.
Yeah.
Almost no addict becomes a full-blown addict from the first use. I was a little unusual in that I was a full-blown alcoholic within a month of my first drink. Within a month.
At what age was that?
17.
Wow.
I was in college. Okay. I went to college. I was 17 years old when I went to college.
Damn.
And National Merit Scholar, accepted to Harvard, went to Dartmouth, and fish out of water. Very confused. The term I use many times when I speak about this is I was broken. I was broken. I was broken by my past. So let's give a few of the antecedents. What are the preceding things that bring me up to an age of 17 being broken? My mother, I'm 62 now, to the listener. I'm a black man. Really, I'm what you would call biracial. My mother was a white teenage runaway in New York who met a black pimp and drug dealer. She was impregnated by him, and luckily she kept me, Irish Catholic, and I was put up for adoption at birth.
Wow.
I was actually adopted. When I met her 55 years later, she told me she met the couple that adopted me, white couple, because she wanted me to grow up Catholic.
Right.
And unfortunately, I was mixed, but they didn't know that. And you see in my paperwork, I was put back into the system 3 months later. So I was adopted, and then I was put back into the foster care system. And I'm cool with that. That wasn't, it wasn't what they were expecting. They weren't.
Yeah.
In 1962, nice white Irish couple wants a nice white kid. And of course, they met my mother, and she's, a white teenage girl. So anyway, I go through foster homes for 6 years. And what I knew from being in foster homes is one thing. I wasn't loved. I didn't have a mother. I knew I didn't have a mother. All I wanted was a mother. Someone to call me son and to be my mother more than anything else in the world. My horizons are limited as a 4-year-old child, but I knew I didn't have a mom.
Right.
So I get adopted at age 6. When I get adopted, I cannot read. I'm in first grade. I cannot tell time. I cannot tie my shoes. Okay. This is as a 6-year-old. And so the first year or first summer, my mom taught me how to read. I fell in love with reading. And by 2nd grade, I'm reading at the 5th grade level.
Holy cow.
It's true. And so I do my little schooling. At age 12, we moved. But there's another important part. My father was an alcoholic, my adoptive father. Sam was an alcoholic, and he was a violent alcoholic.
Oh.
And I'm the only child. And he never, until he shot my mom, he never did any physical violence to her. Okay?
Wait a minute.
We'll get there.
Until he shot? Okay.
Yeah. Shot her
Holy
6 times.
Shit.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Okay.
So,
I'm going to sit back and listen.
So I had the violence perpetrated on me.
Right.
And we would leave, we'd hide out. And finally, we moved from New York to Alaska. One of the reasons to get away from him.
And you were 6 at this time?
No, at that time I was 12.
Oh, you were 12.
So I did 6 years of him being, the alcoholic as a child in upstate New York, Middletown. And we moved to Alaska, happiest part of my childhood, bar none. We had 3 months without him. And I was so relieved because I didn't have that fear. Anyway, my mom took him back. And I was a little angry at her for taking him back for years. But she took him back, and he stayed sober for a few years, and he started drinking again. So by the time my senior year came, I had to hide out again. We were hid out. We got into a big physical, police were called, all that good stuff. I'm 16, 17. I'm going off to Ivy League school. And my last half of my senior year, I had to hide out, which is a terrible thing. So I was broken. I was very immature. I'm 17. I'm this weird kid from Alaska who loves heavy metal music. They didn't know what to do with me. Even at Dartmouth, the blacks didn't know what to do with me, let alone the whites. So I go there and I'm like a fish out of water. But then I get introduced to alcohol. And, a lot of people say, why alcohol? And I'll be frank, you can edit anything you want. But one of the reasons why I drank alcohol is I got laid.
Yeah.
I'm in a fraternity and the girl's drunk and I'm drunk. Mm-hmm. That's how I met girls,
And then shit happens.
That's very normal.
Yep.
Okay, that's why we go to the clubs and bars. So, because I'm too shy to talk as a 17-year-old broken Alaskan with a jerry curl and a jean jacket with, Van Halen and Black Sabbath and Led Zepp and every other thing, Nazareth, that I'm listening to. And people were like, where did he come from? Oh, he's from Alaska? We'll give him a bye because he's from Alaska. Back in those days, we didn't have I couldn't go on YouTube and learn.
No. No.
Right.
Oh, man. That's funny.
Couldn't sing, couldn't dance, couldn't play basketball. Yeah, I was messed up as a biracial child. So I go to college. I do the college. I get introduced to alcohol. I join a fraternity. I tell everybody I graduated. People say, "What'd you graduate? What was your major?" I said, "I majored in fraternity. I minored in drinking." That's what I did.
Isn't that why a lot of people go to college nowadays?
God, I don't know.
It's sad, but anyways, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No problem. So I get out. I graduate.
Right.
And in 1984, and I'm like so thrilled because all my fraternity brothers were talking about, they got a new car for the graduation. Now you graduate, now you're in the adult world, you're 21, 22. I'm 21. And my mom said, "Hey, don't do anything on Monday. We're going to go somewhere." I'm like, cool, I want to get my car. We're going to get a Corvette, going to get a Beamer. Back in those days, Saab 900.
Oh, my
Turbo.
God.
And, I'm just thinking, I got it going on. Not that we had that kind of money, man.
I forgot all about Saabs.
Yeah, Saab 900 turbos.
Yeah.
So we get in the car and we're driving. She didn't tell me where we're going. And we're driving by all the car dealerships, because they're all like on one strip. And I'm like, where are we going? And my mom took me to my first treatment center. That was my graduation.
Wow.
Oh, I had been drinking. I started drinking in September of 1980. And I was a full-blown alcoholic by October, November. My mom had me go to my first meeting, summer of 81. First AA meeting, summer of 81. I had been drinking less than 7 months. And I was asked or commanded to go to AA. Didn't stop me.
Yeah.
I'm too much ego, and it took care of too many problems for me. Drinking, not only drinking, but partying and fraternity. A fraternity is a gang. It's just it's a term for gang. It's a gang, but it's a gang. It's like-minded men that get together for a purpose. And our purpose was to party and pick up women. That was our main purpose.
Right.
That's the fraternity. And we create an environment that's conducive to that. Okay. So I got introduced to powder cocaine and weed and alcohol. Anyway, I get out, I get cleaned up. And this is the crazy stuff. This is how stupid I am. So I'm clean. I'm going to Alcoholics Anonymous. And I am getting my coins and my chips or whatever for time. But I'm still smoking weed and still doing cocaine because I'm like, I'm doing right in AA. I'm not drinking. But
it's AA, not NA.
A little powder and a little weed, not going to hurt me. So lo and behold, 2 years later, I relapsed on alcohol, and then the wheels fell off soon after. It takes a little while to get that gradual descent. But if you do the gradual descent, at some point you get to level ground, and that's your level.
Right.
And my level, my addiction is so bad with my Ivy Leagues. I can't keep a job. I can't be a contributing member of society. So I end up on the streets. And let me talk about that real quick, what the streets are.
Mm-hmm.
It's the streets of a city usually. It's hard to be street. You can be an alcoholic and drug addict rural, because I've seen that in Mississippi. But when I was in the cities, and I was in Seattle, the lowest level you can go to is the Missions. So I'm literally in the Missions. I can't keep a room over my head. My dream for a couple decades was to get a weekly motel room. That's like the highest function I could think of. Can I get a weekly? Okay. But I did all the missions in Seattle: Downtown Emergency Shelter, Peniel Mission, Bread of Life Mission, Union Gospel Mission, Salvation Army Ark Center. I'm living, that's how I'm living. Or I'm trying to locate abandoned homes or abandoned cars to live in.
Mm.
Then I have to pay for my addiction and my alcoholism. But of course, I can't keep a job. Now, you can do day labor, which would pay me, day labor would pay back in the 80s and 90s, approximately $21 to $24, because it's like $3 an hour, and they take a little money out for this and money for that. And what I would do is I'd get some alcohol, and I'd buy a $20 crack cocaine, and then wash, rinse, and repeat as much. Then I started doing other crimes. I started pimping. I started doing robberies. And then what a big part of my story is, because I talk about shame in the book, and I talk about this from the stage, is I started prostituting. And that's the lowest thing you can be on the streets, is on the streets, not in the penitentiary, but on the streets, is being a male prostitute. And that's what I was. And so I turned tricks to pay for my crack addiction, and did that. Dealt with, and you talked about I talked about that earlier. And a lot of people say, well, if all the stuff that happened to you, I could see why you drink and drug. I'm not a believer in that. I'm not a believer in antecedents. You can have an excuse for any behavior. So, in 1986, this is when I was still sober. My mom had divorced my dad in 1980. And I was so afraid of my father that it took me about 5 years to be able to meet him and talk to him. But I did, and we were cool.
Yeah.
So I have a half brother on my father's side. I was an only child, but I have a brother who's much older, who my dad had with his first wife.
Now, you talk about your biological father, or your adopted father?
Adopted father, the alcoholic, the violent one. Well, we went over there on a Saturday to visit him, and he's drunk on a hangover on the couch, and there's a gun on the table. And we were going to take the gun. And he said, no, I needed to scare off the burglars because he's on the first floor, whatever.
Right.
And then 2 days later, I get a call. And the call from my mom's secretary, she ran the nursing programs for the state, for the college. Mm-hmm. And she said, oh, Kenneth, Sam shot Irene. Sam's shot Irene. And what he had done, because he had a restraining order, he couldn't go to her house and could not go to her job, couldn't go to mine either. He had gone over there drunk and went past the secretary, got to walk down the hall. No, they said, Sam's here, and he's not supposed to. She said, I'll talk to him. So my mom gets up, because she's running the program. She's the dean of the school. And goes to her door. And Sam comes up there, pulls out a .25 automatic and shoots her 6 times, hits her 5 times. And the whole time he's shooting her, he said, I'm going to kill that son of a bitch, Ken. He's going to kill me. He's going to go to my job and shoot me. That was
damn.
Next. The gun jammed. Anybody knows 25 automatics are not the best guns.
Right.
The gun jammed. And so we got back in the car and drove home, threw the gun out the window, drove home, and they arrested him, passed out at the house. But this is the crazy part. Remember I said I was broken?
Yeah.
Hear this, and I want the listener to hear this because there may be listeners that have this same way of dealing with trauma. So I get the call. I go to my boss, and I said, hey, Bobby, do you mind if I take a little time off? My mom has been shot, and she's in the hospital. He freaks out because that's a normal reaction.
Yeah.
Hearing something like that. And he knew a little bit about my situation because remember, my dad had a restraining order against my job. Against coming to my job. And he's like, well, of course, do whatever you want me to go with you? I said, no, I got it. This is exactly the way I'm talking, just like I'm talking to you now.
Nice and calm.
Go to the hospital, Providence Hospital, Anchorage, Alaska, and it's pre-op. And my mom's lying on a gurney. She's just so happy to see me because I'm alive. Because remember, I'm going to kill that son of a bitch, Ken. And she's got a sheet up to her neck. I'll never forget this. And you could see the blood coming through the sheet.
Oh, man.
And I said, Mom, this is my exact emotion. Mother, is there anything I can help you with? And she goes, I'm so glad you love you. She's dramatic. And then she said, grab my shoes and my purse, because they had cut her shoes off. As they do that kind of stuff. Yeah. And, I'm so glad you're alive. I said, okay, got it. Grabbed her stuff, left. Went back to work like nothing had happened.
Wow.
Because that is how I dealt with trauma. Because my dad told me not to cry when he was beating me. I mean, I had that script built in. I saw a dude get run over by a truck. I was walking with Gary Witherspoon on Dartmouth College. He's on a moped delivering pizzas, and there's a box truck. And I'm like, dang, I'm just looking in my head, and I'm like, they look like they're in the same lane for some, going opposite. Hit him straight on. Dude goes underneath the truck. Truck keeps going.
Oh,
he's laid out. No emotion. Gary throws his books up in the air because we were coming back from somewhere. Throws his books and runs to the guy. I just walk up to him.
Wow.
And Gary's he's so fool. So the dude sits up. He'd been run over.
The guy that got hit by the truck stood up?
Stood up. I mean, he didn't stand up. He came up like this, but he's in shock. He's in shock, bro. And Gary's such a fool. He looks at him and starts wiggling his fingers. How many fingers? How many fingers? Gary, stop that. So stupid. He's stupid. We just waited for the ambulance to come. But no emotion.
Yeah.
I was broken. And so...
wow.
I went on the streets. I've seen people dead. And I've been in situations, but no emotion. I went to kill someone one time on the streets.
Damn.
Because of his way he talked to me.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm writing, my next book is a book on respect and disrespect in the community and in the boardroom. Mm-hmm. Anyway, this guy was disrespecting me. On what we say on the streets is he was talking out the side of his neck. And he was doing it in front of other people, which then diminishes my stature within the group. Now, we're all drug addicts and drug dealers and all this stuff, and he's talking stupid. And on top of that, he's white. Okay? And most of the people I'm associating with are African-American. Okay? The girls are white because we run white girls. I don't want to get too much into the junk of it. But anyway, he's talking outside now. And as calm as I'm talking to you, I say, hey, man, can I holler at you outside for a second? Because we're on the third floor of the motel, Fireside Motel in Reno, Nevada. He said, sure. Whatever. We walk outside. I grab him, and I got him halfway over the balcony because I'm throwing him off the balcony.
Oh, shit.
And the door's open because we just came. As soon as we came out, I grabbed his ass, and I had him over that balcony. It's a railing.
Yeah.
And everybody rushes out, and they grab him. And it's not like they didn't really care about him, whether he could fly.
They're worried about you. Yeah.
No, they're not worried about me. They're worried about the heat I would bring to the room. We've got drugs and guns in the room.
Right.
Okay. And usually a dead body or a barely moving body 3 floors down creates a stressor into our area of criminal activity. So that's why they say
Jesus.
And I laugh about it now because I understand so much of my motives. I understand my insanity. I understand the why of everything that I've done, literally. And I've taken years to do this. I speak again from the stage on that. So, I deal with this stuff. And I know, let me one thing on the shooting is that it hurt my mom immensely because she thought I didn't love her because I had no emotion. I had no emotion.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, I didn't either. But we went to family group on one of my treatments, and she told me. And I was like, wow. Because I had never thought of that either.
Yeah.
Because I'd apologize for that. And of course, I apologized in family group, with the counselor there and stuff. But again, a lot of times we don't see the other side. Mm-hmm. People don't see the other side of violence. Rarely do you see the other side. My mom was never the same. They took out 3 bullets. When she passed away 20, 30 years later, she still had 2 bullets in her. Okay. Because they didn't want to take them out for whatever reasons. But psychologically, she never was the same.
Right.
My mom was working on her doctorate at that time at Columbia's Teachers College. She ran the nurse. She had to quit her job. My mom was a dancer for 40 years. I'm talking about a professional. But she had stopped dancing professionally, but she had a dance group. She choreographed.
Wow.
Mom was a poet laureate of Nevada. She played guitar. She had a record album. My mom was this phenomenal, phenomenal woman. And for one act, literally destroyed us. But I want to say this to the audience, and I want you to hear this. When my father was dying, my mother wrote him a beautiful letter, of forgiveness. And I hope, it gets better. I hope you get well, because he had cancer and all this. And I'll never forget my mom. So I'm sitting there with my mom, let's say a month after she wrote this letter. This is because she hadn't had any communication, obviously, with this man who shot her.
Right.
But she wrote him a very nice letter because my mom was a beautiful person spiritually. And he writes back a letter like, wondering, can we get back together?
Oh, my God.
My mom laughed and we laughed.
Jeez.
That boat has sailed.
Oh, my God. You know what? But the thing is, too, with your mother writing that letter, did she feel like it lifted a ton of bricks off of her shoulders as well because she forgave him?
No. She did it for him.
Okay.
She did it for him. We had these years together.
Yeah.
There were good years. See, you got to understand the problem. The problem was me in the relationship. So my mom had, you got to understand. My father had already had 2 kids. He'd been there, done that. My mom is this phenomenal woman, beautiful wife, intelligent, all that. He had her all to himself. Then I come along because that's what my mom wanted. So let me tell you about my adoption. So I'm with the thing there's an agency called Wyndham Agency in New York City. It's the oldest adoption agency in the United States.
Okay.
They went and paid, I think it was $1,600 or $1,800 to adopt a Black child. And because they're Black. And which is a lot of money in 1960.
Back then, yeah.
This is 68. They were adopting another child. another boy. Because my mom, for whatever reason, I remember I was either drunk or stupid. I asked her, why didn't you have kids? You don't ask a woman that. But anyway, I asked my mom that, and I can't even remember what her answer was. But she never had kids.
Okay.
But she wanted to raise a child. And she did a phenomenal job raising me. But anyway, she wanted to raise a child. So, so they're doing the paperwork. My dad's doing the paperwork to adopt this other boy. And my mom said there was like this book, let's say 4 inches thick, 10, 15 pictures per page of Black children in the New York foster care system.
Holy cow.
It's like a mug book. And she said she was just leafing through. And she said, I saw you, Kenneth. Now, she always called me Kenneth.
Right.
I saw you, Kenneth. And I said, stop the press. I want this one. I want this one. So I not feel bad for the other boy. I don't know. Of course, I don't know who he was. I have no clue. But she said she saw my picture and said, I want that one. And it was so many times when I was a kid, especially, we would be going somewhere and they're like, oh, Irene, is that your son? Yes, it's my son, Kenneth. Oh, he looks just like you. We're not. And we would just smile at each other. But you know, one of the crazy things about being adopted is that it's a lie. It's a lie. Yeah, I have a birth certificate that says my parents are Irene and Sam Miller. But that's a lie. That's not truth. And I knew that as a 6-year-old. And again, remember when people would say, is this your mom and dad? Or, you know, we would sign up for something. Is this your mother and father?
Right.
Even medical stuff, we would have to, quote unquote, lie. It's not true.
Yeah, I never thought about that. Yeah.
Yes. And so even as a kid, I learned to lie at an early age. And it was one of the things that, again, made me broken.
Mm-hmm.
I've been lying my whole life. I rarely, if ever, do it now. But the great majority of my life, my mom would call it, Kenneth, stop prevaricating. Stop lying. Because I would do it all the time. And I did it to protect myself. My father would come home, Kenneth, did you vacuum the rugs? And I know I didn't, but if I said no, I'd get beat.
Right.
And so, yes, I vacuumed the rugs. I learned that real early on. And so I'm broken. I picked up on, and the other big one, see, my core issue is this, and I talk about this many times. My core issue is I always thought I would die alone.
Right.
Abandonment and rejection. So I had the inability to say no. The inability to say no. Because if I say no, you will reject me. And I will be alone and I will die alone. It took me years to realize that, but that is my core. It took me about 4 years of work to peel away.
Yeah. Jeez.
Because I know why I do stuff. So I do violence. I did violence.
Right.
But the reason I did violence is because I'm angry. The reason I'm angry is because I'm in fear. The reason I'm in fear is because I'm anticipating pain. The pain is that people are going to treat me in a certain way if I allow you to behave in the way you're behaving toward me, like the guy I had another one. Guy ripped me off of 6 rocks of crack cocaine. He's a drug addict. That's why he took the 6 rocks. I went looking for him with a shotgun. I had another one. Guy ripped me off $100 on a date I had sent a girl out on. I had a 9mm, and I was looking for him hard. The other one I really knew I couldn't find because I'm not from Mississippi. But I'm in my town, Reno, looking at all the spots, looking for this guy that took my $100 for that date that I had sent the girl out on. Okay.
Damn.
I didn't find him. 2 hours later, I don't have the gun. I go to buy some dope. I walk into the motel room and I didn't know this was his gang.
Oh, shit.
And they're like, oh, you the MFer that's looking for D-Boy.
Wow.
Sit your ass down, because they pulled out their guns.
Right.
So once you move someone under the threat of violence, that's kidnapping. So they literally had me kidnapped. And I'll be honest, there's only been maybe 2 times I've been in fear in my life. 2, 3 times. I've had guns pointed at me 3 times, but a couple of times I wasn't in fear.
Right.
For different reasons. Again, I'm broken. And I remember sitting at that table, we're waiting for D-Boy to come back to make a decision on whether or not to kill me. Literally. This is a gang from Stockton, California. They don't play.
Yeah.
That's why they're selling drugs.
Damn.
And I remember he came back, but they're in a motel. And well, we'll just put it this way. I can't give you every reason why, but they decided not to kill me. Literally decided not to kill me. And but I was there for a couple hours waiting for him to come back. And I thought this was going to be it. It's going to be it. I've had cops point a gun right from a foot away, point a gun at my head with the flashlight and the gun. I'm looking down the barrel of the gun. Back in those days, it was revolvers. That was in Newark, New Jersey, 1982 or 83. Oh, yeah, but David, that's the streets. That's the streets. But the key component is I'm broken. So I go to prison in 2004. I got 100 of those stories, but that's not the important part.
Yeah.
Because I want to talk about the solution. I want to talk about the group. Let me say this to the whole audience. Check this out. I am well today. Yeah. I am well. I am well. I do life well. And because I'm not always working on myself, because I'm well.
Yeah.
I can give to others. I mentor men all over the country. I have a book study, nonfiction Black men's book study that I run, that I started free. I got men all over the country.
That's
I got
awesome.
12 guys I mentor one-on-one all over the country.
Wow.
I speak for free many times. I went up to Anchorage, Alaska for free. It wasn't free. I paid $3,000 to go up there and talk to SHRM, Society of HR Managers, on hiring ex-offenders, because I'm a 3-time convicted felon. You might get me.
Right.
Okay? So I get arrested in 2004, September 2. We talked about that. A month later, I'm sitting on the bunk, lying on the bunk. Unit 13, Parr Boulevard, which is the jail. It's called Parr Boulevard in Reno, Nevada. I'm lying there, and God spoke to me, and God had been speaking to me my whole life. I just don't listen.
Right.
I just wouldn't listen or change the behavior. But he said, it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be without pain or discomfort, but I will be there. I'll walk with you. I'll walk with you. Okay. And I've been good ever since. Now, I had a lot of work to do.
Right.
I had a lot of work to do to get to the person I am today. Remember, the whole book is called Becoming Ken.
The work's paid off.
Of course it has.
Everything's paid off.
But it's paid off for me, my loved ones, and the community at large.
Well, I was going to say, plus, I mean, you're helping people everywhere now as well.
Correct.
Yeah. And the thing is, if all of this didn't happen to you in your life, you may not be doing that right now. You may not be helping people.
I am rare. I'm just going to say this. Because all I do is, as I talk my truth, there are people who will differ.
Yeah.
And I'm cool with that. I used to be, if you differed with me, it was my job to convince you that you're wrong. Because what I heard when you had a differing opinion is that you were right and I was wrong.
Right.
But I, as a person, was wrong because I had this opinion. I understand there are different opinions. I believe my opinion is the correct opinion. And if it's about me, it is the correct opinion because I know me. I know me. Okay. So, the sense of growth and being well, but I wasn't, again, I'm in this journey. I've been coming up on my sobriety date is September 23rd, coming up on 21 years.
That's awesome.
And wow. I still had a lot of work to do the first 6 or 7. First 3, I was in prison. I went to prison. I said very simple. And this is what I sometimes teach or talk to people in life. As I said, there's 4 areas, and you know what they are. They're the physical, the intellectual, the emotional, and the spiritual. Mm-hmm. Okay. Physical, I was a mess when I went off because I was a crack addict. Well, I started working out, and by the time I got out of prison 3 years later, I had set records on the yard as a power lifter. Okay.
Nice.
Yeah. I my best one is I deadlifted 518. This is drug-free, no straps.
Damn.
Under competition with the referee and umpires. Okay. And I came in second strongman competition on the whole yard to a guy that was like 260, 270, big old Samoan. I came in number 2, and I'm 198. Okay. Thin.
Wow.
Yeah. Anyway, we did that. So I got the physical, played basketball. I was the most valuable player in my league. I was the top player because I did the 40+ league. I'm an old guy. So I played.
Wait a minute now, Ken. Come on now. We're the same age.
At my age,
only a number, man.
I do full court. I could go down there one time. And
I can look at it.
We half court. I can't even do half court. I'll probably quarter court. Can we do something where we just do like underneath the basket? We can just shoot ball.
Just give me the controller.
Any movement. We got a problem. I got the heating pad on my lower back right now as we speak. Okay? All right. So then we do the intellectual. And I was intellectually a mess. And what that means, people say, what does that mean? Well, it means this. Things atrophy or shrink from misuse or no use. And so my vocabulary had shrunk. 20% of my vocabulary, 30% I couldn't use on this podcast. Okay. Because that's how we talk on the streets.
Right.
Okay. And then my comprehension. So my vocabulary and my comprehension I would read a paragraph in a book when I went to prison. Because I wasn't reading books on the streets. I can tell you that right now.
Yeah.
Only thing I would read is like my charging papers. I got charged. I go off on these. I got to tell you a funny story. So I go to jail on a misdemeanor. So I don't count misdemeanors. I have 3 felonies, but I'm in there for a misdemeanor. And in jail, they'll do this. In prison, you bunk with your race. In jail, they'll bunk you with anybody because it's temporary. And if you have a problem with it, you can ask the guard and they'll move you. But I got the white guy in there. And I'm running the cell, we could say. So I'm on the bottom bunk because that's the prime bunk. He's on the top bunk. And the guard goes around, we're locked in our cell. Guard goes around, he slides a paper in. And we know what it is. It's called an ad book, which means additional booking.
Okay.
And the booking, if it's, I just want to make sure I get this right. I could be wrong, but if it's in black ink, it's a misdemeanor. If it's in red ink, it's a felony. And so he slides it underneath the door and it's red. And I'm like, not for me. I'm here on this misdemeanor. Right? And you better go check it out. 'Cause it's for you. And he goes over, he jumps down from the bunk. He walks over, grabs the sheet, reads it. Well, it's not for me. There's only 2 people in the cell. I'm like, oh, hell no. And I grab it, and yeah, I got charged with some more felonies that I didn't know I was going to get charged with. So anyway, so I'm in there. I would read a paragraph in a book when I get to prison. And by the time I got to the last sentence in the paragraph, I couldn't tell you what the first sentence said. I couldn't remember it.
Wow.
Comprehension. I couldn't. So that took time. By my second year in the penitentiary, we just looked at this yesterday on another podcast I was on. And I read 160 books my second year.
Damn.
160. The year before I read like 110. Now I read anywhere between 20 and 30.
Right.
Because I just don't have the time. But remember, what do you have in prison? Time. Other than playing double-deck pinochle, all I did was read.
That's why they say you're doing time.
Yep.
I guess.
So we got the intellectual. And then I'm also working in the school because they all knew I was an Ivy League graduate.
Right.
So I go into the school because I don't want to work in the yard, and it's Reno. It's 100 degrees outside, raking. And so I get the great job working in the school. And my job is ESL, English as a Second Language, working with the Hispanic inmates who I usually don't associate, but I can because it's school and everybody's cool with that. But you wouldn't be bunking with them. You wouldn't be eating at their table during a meal. You wouldn't be walking the yard with a bunch of Hispanics. That's a no-no.
Right.
Okay, so I'm in there and I'm working with the Hispanics, supposed to be teaching them English. I don't speak Spanish, right? But I'm like, I said, yeah, I know a couple words. And I did know a couple words, Pinocchio, whatever, Mariposa, which means butterfly. That's a derogatory term.
Oh,
Bendejo, Bendejo. Yeah. Anyway, so I sit down with the guys the first time, and I'm like, hey, Ese, I don't know Spanish. I don't know if you can understand me, but I'm supposed to teach you English. And the dude's like, hey, Ese, don't worry. We speak English. We just told them we don't speak English. So we can go to school and kick it in the air conditioning, for 3 hours to do our program.
Smart.
So we both cool. And I'm like,
oh, man.
And it was all good. That's called a hustle. Oh. So I get that true story. And it's so beautiful. I can laugh. I can laugh at everything.
Right.
I find the humor because it's the absurdity of our situation. Here I'm this Ivy. And all these people kept calling me Harvard. I was like, I didn't go to Harvard. I went to Dartmouth, especially, the civilians, because they went around the yard. I'm the only Ivy Leaguer on the yard. Give me a break. Okay. So anyway, so the important one, probably the most important, other than the spiritual, was really the emotional, because I had all this shame about, the prostitution, the pimping, because I pimped teenage girls. My girls were 14, 15, 16. Okay.
Wow.
Not proud of it, but that's what we do on the street. Okay. So I'm in there with the counselor. I'll never forget. I asked her, I said, well, how many people you got on your caseload? And she's not supposed to tell me. She's a civilian. Mm-hmm. And I'll never forget. She goes, 2. And there's 1,100 men on that yard. And they could all use counseling. Every single one of them. I would go to NA meetings, Narcotics Anonymous meetings, in the penitentiary. And I'd be the only inmate. Because we'd have the civilians come in from outside, spreading the message. In fact, that's where I met my sponsor, sharing the message.
Damn.
Okay. So I worked on that, and it helped a lot, but I still had, so I did 3 years. I still had a lot of work I needed to do when I get out, which I didn't know. A lot of times you don't know until you are, and then I did spiritual, and I'm a person that has a God, has a spiritual essence in my life.
Right.
And the most important thing, I talk to people about spirituality all the time. I say, I don't care what you believe in. Buddha, Allah, Krishna, Jesus, God. I don't care. Does it modify your behavior? Does it modify your actions? Because your thoughts are not going to put you in prison. Your feelings are not going to put you in prison. But your actions will.
Yeah.
25 to life. Remember, that's my next sentence. 25 to life. I would have already had the 3 strikes in Cali, but I was in Nevada.
Right.
And it's up to the discretion of the judge. But he told me I got it. Okay. So I get out. I think I'm doing well. In fact, I'm a lot better, but I knew I still. And then what I came to is the power of words. And I had to take away the power of words.
The power of words.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I got scripts that are built into me. I had scripts that are built into me. If you call me a punk, a bitch, or a nigger, automatic violence. Automatic. Now, the N-word, and I did use it one time, but I just want to give that for context. If you're in my community, what's up, my nigga? No problem. I mean, that's how we talk. But you call me a punk, or a bitch, we got a problem. So I get out of the penitentiary. 6 months after I'm out, I'm thinking I'm doing all great, doing all well. I fly up to Anchorage to see my brother and his kids. He's got 2 sons, my nephews. I haven't seen them in 10, 15 years.
Wow.
We're going up the escalator at Nordstrom's. And my nephew, who's like 17, 18 years old, he's like, Unc, were you somebody's little bitch in the penitentiary?
What?
That's pretty much what.
Wow.
I'll never forget. I get to the landing. I take out my phone. I call my brother. I said, Mike Jr. said, boom, 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 boom. He said, put him on the phone. And I gave him the phone. I walked away. I came back. Unc, I apologize. My bad. I didn't mean, because my brother knows. He's from the same.
Yeah, right.
He grew up in New York. He fought in Vietnam. I mean, he's a man's man.
Yeah.
And you don't call another man in our communities that word. You also don't use the word punk.
Right.
Okay. So I'm thinking, okay, I'm cool. Because I didn't do anything. And I was like, oh, I got to look at that. Why? Because I wanted to.
Man.
So I'm at work. Remember, I'm out of prison. I'm on parole. I get to go back and finish off my other 3 years if I break parole. I'm working in a warehouse because that's all I could find.
Mm-hmm.
And this Hispanic young man, maybe 19 years old, because look at me right now. People can't see me. The audience can't. But I look like I am so square, and I'm a well put together 62-year-old black man. I'm a business owner. I look like that.
Yeah.
I have no tattoos, nothing. You would never know I've been to prison 3 times. I was on the streets. I was a drug dealer. I've hurt people, put people in the hospital, all that stuff. You don't know that.
Right.
But anyway, he's talking to me out the side of his neck. Got his little essay, Hispanic.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, he's not prison. He's not a thug. He's just stupid because you don't know who you're dealing with.
Right.
You don't know what their past is. And I'm across the table from him. This is during lunch. And I was like, man, chop it. Chop it. I mean, stop.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to me like that. A little partner smiling, giggling, whatever. And I'll never forget, I stood up and I'm right across. I'm like 3 feet away from him.
Right.
I stood up. I said, stand up, you little punk ass bitch. Because that's the code word.
Uh-huh.
And because when you get that, you either fight or you back down. But if you're in a penitentiary and you back down, you buying me commissary, you're cleaning my cell. And if I go that way, you're providing sexual services.
Right.
If I call you that and you back down. Now, if you fight me, cool. We cool. Okay?
Wow.
Let the best man win or lose. And then I'm still going to respect you and not come at you like that. Win or lose. Okay? That's how that worked. And he looked at me, his eyes got big and didn't move one iota. The whole room got quiet because I didn't say this in a whisper.
Right.
And I stood there for about 15 seconds. He did not stand because if he had stood up, I'd have hit him on the way up. I don't fight fair. I don't fight fair. That shit's for Marcus of Queensberry boxing rules. I don't do that. They don't do that where I come from.
Right.
But I remember this. I stood up. I turned around. And I was going to my office because I did inventory for the warehouse. And I was crying so profusely.
Really?
Oh, yeah. I couldn't believe that I allowed this man or allowed these words. I could have got up and moved somewhere else and sat.
Yeah.
To put me back in the penitentiary for 3 years. My mom is dying. And I can't visit her. My mom, I could walk during lunch every single day other than payday. I would walk to my mom's condo. Mm-hmm. That's how close she was to where I worked. And spend a half hour with her as she's dying of congestive heart failure. Oh. Every day. And she would get up, cook me something because you don't have a lot of energy.
Yeah.
That's my mom. And then she would sit down and fall asleep or whatever. And I would get back up and go to work after I ate what she cooked every day. And then on the weekends, I would take her, wherever she needed to go and do whatever she needed. Or during the week, if she needed to get her Coumadin, whatever. And I was getting ready to throw that all away because of some words. And it was so funny. Later on, we're on the forklifts and stuff. And he runs into me. And, he sees me. He's like, were you threatening me? Because I can't threaten. That's a offense. Were you threatening me?
Yeah.
And I'm like, no. And in my head, I always say to myself, I wasn't threatening you. I was predicting your future. Because I said, you punk ass bitch, stand up. I'll beat your ass. It's really what I said. So I was predicting your future. But I didn't say that either. I said, no. Because he wasn't sure. And thank goodness, I went on my journey. But anyway, I had to take away the power of that.
Yeah.
There was so many lessons to learn, but I've learned the lessons. And there may be one or two more. I don't think so. Because I didn't even know what the words were. I had to literally look at words. Okay, what words trigger me?
Right.
And again, like in different cultures. So if you're in prison, another Hispanic calls another Hispanic a mariposa, which is butterfly. That means you're a punk. You're effeminate or you're weak. Really what it means is you're weak. I'm strong. Therefore, I'm calling you a butterfly to see how you will react.
Interesting.
Are you going to be buying me commissary? Going to the store for me?
Huh. Damn. When was the book released?
It was released in May.
May of this year?
Yes. Yeah, Brandon.
And how are book sales going so far?
They're going all right. It's, you get this idea that you're going to be a million. So, man, if I've sold 500 copies, I'd be surprised. The last time I looked, which has been a month and a half, 2 months, I think it was up to like 200. Right. And, I didn't write the book to make money. I actually wrote the book so I could speak more. One of the reasons I do the podcast is I want to speak more. I want to touch people. I've gone out there and talked to people from the stage. And one of my main themes, of course, is resilience. But the other one is taking away the power of the secret. Taking away the power of the negative secret. If you knew this about me, you would not like me or reject me or make me feel less than. And I talk about that because I had these secrets. A big secret of mine, I'll just put it out there. I was raped. I was raped by another man. Yeah. I was raped by another man. Put myself in a situation where another man, so I know what it's like to feel dirty. I know what it's like to take a 2-hour shower and still feel unclean. I know what it's like to beat yourself up for putting yourself into that situation. So a lot of times women can react, can understand, and I can understand. Because I hate to say it, most women, I have probably talked to over 50, 60 prostitutes in my life. I was in that world. I smoked crack. Yeah. I call them working girls. And I would talk to them. 90% of them had kids. And 100% of them had been molested. 100%. Because they were safe with me. Because we have a term, I didn't stress them for sex. This is what they do to pay for their drugs. I didn't stress them. Let's just smoke. Okay. And I was this like gentleman crack smoker. I would always let the girls smoke first. It would be my dope. Here. And for you. I call it cocaine etiquette. Crack etiquette. Which is like unheard of. Anybody who smoked crack would listen to this and say, yeah, I had crack etiquette, believe it or not. I was different. Remember I was different? So anyway, I can go on the stage and I talk about that in front of hundreds, if not thousands of people.
And I love the fact that you're going to talk to businesses too.
Oh, yeah. Maybe almost everybody do it. Well, I did some mix. It's associations, businesses. I've gone out to youth prisons. I go into youth prison. It's so funny. So I go into youth prison. I go into what they call a level 1 unit.
Right.
A level 1 unit means that you are under 18. You could be as young as, 10, whatever. But the only way you can get to a level 1 unit is that you have killed, raped, or arson. That's it.
Oh.
These are the worst of the worst. Or the crimes of the worst of the worst. But when you look at them, they're children.
Yeah.
So when I come in there, I'll never forget, they're all slouched. Oh, yeah, another speaker. Yeah, whatever. And they looking at me like square. And then I start talking. And I can talk their language.
Right.
I've been there. And I tell them, this is my truth. This is what I've done. This is what I've seen. And I remember it was like 14, 16 guys in there. And by the end, I had all but maybe 2 or 3. There's 2 or 3, they're too broken or they're too invested in their reputation of being a badass. And they can't pay attention to me. That would go against their script. I talk about
they can't pay attention yet.
But their chances are ever paying attention.
Yeah.
Because if you can't even listen to me at 14, you got 4 more years before you go either to adult or be released. Because you're not getting out on those crimes until either. Because a lot of times, even a murder, at 18, they'll release you. Okay. Or send you to the big house, usually depending on the severity of the crime. But most of them, in fact, I would probably say 90% of them is always drugs involved.
Yeah.
Drugs and alcohol. And a lot of them are villagers. These kids from these small Alaska Native villages who struggle because there's so little resources or things, quote unquote, to do. I'm not giving excuses, but they get involved with the drugs and the alcohol and they end up committing And I dealt with them. I became an executive director of a prison reentry program. I had 180 beds. I ran that program. This is the ex-con who ran that program.
Wow. And
2 things I learned. Number 1, I had more problems with the women than I did with the guys. That's number 1 I learned, because they're manipulative. I used to have a rule. You cannot come into my office without one of my female staff members. Okay? You cannot come into my office. Okay? The day I started, I said that. Oh, it was very smart.
Yeah.
Very smart. And the other thing that I learned is that there's a very high recidivism, as everyone knows, even though we had programs, we did this, we did that, and you had to change. But this is the other thing I learned is that it was sad. It was real difficult for sex offenders to get housing, even though we had only a certain amount of beds that we could do, because nobody wants it in their neighborhood. We had different houses, different places. But it was real difficult. And a lot of them were Native men, Alaskan Native men. A lot. I mean, the majority. Yeah. And they were a very small part of the population. And the reason it was alcohol related in the villages. And what a village can do is they can make it that you cannot come back. You're expelled from the village.
Oh, shit.
And many of them, their education level is not high at all.
Yeah.
And they were the nicest people in the world. This is my experience, because they're not under alcohol. And they're just these, I hate to use the word, simple Alaskan men that got caught up with alcohol involved, and usually someone underage. And again, I'm talking truth. I was there. Yeah. I've seen it. I've been to the prisons. They were begging me to find beds for these guys. And then you meet them, and then, I would have someone come in. A lot of times when they would come in, I said, hey, make sure, because I knew who he was. And I just wanted to make sure we talked, because I'm like the warden of the executive director. I have staff. But anyway, so.
Well, 2 things very important. Okay. Number 1, tell everybody how they can get in touch with you in case they want you to come speak.
I would love that. What I always recommend is to go to my LinkedIn and just go to Ken Miller 84. Okay, it's number 1. Okay. Number 2, call me 907-250-8488. Repeat, 907-250-8488. Same phone I've had for 16 years. I'm not afraid of any call. I'm not afraid of any. I have no fear in my life. None. 0. I have no financial fear. I have no health fear. I have no fear. There are people who I'm close to who are dying as we speak. Dying. Cancer.
Yeah.
I don't fear that. That's truth. What can I do to help you? What can I do to assist you? Need a couple dollars? Got you. Need me to do this? Got you. That's the difference. It's not fear. I'm not fear-based.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, contact me there or go to my website, Ken Miller Speaks. I know that's tough, so let me repeat that. KenMillerSpeaks.com. I love it. That's what I like about you, Rich. You laugh too. I love to laugh.
Well, first of all, I want to thank you for giving your phone number, because I mean, that to me, that tells people you are real. You're truly behind what the word you're spreading, what you want to do. Because there are a lot of people who will not give their phone number.
Most people won't, and I don't recommend it for women. I don't recommend that.
No, but I mean, the fact that you're doing that is awesome. Also, those of you that are listening, when you purchase the book Becoming Ken by Ken Miller, after you read it, make sure you leave a full review, whether it be on Amazon, Goodreads, wherever you can leave reviews. And because this is a book that I believe you would keep and go back in case you needed to brush up on something, buy copies for other people. As a matter of fact, buy some copies for people that are in recovery, for the recovery centers. Buy them for the local jails,
awesome.
prison, whatever. I think if businesses do that and sponsor a mess load of books, buy Ken's books and pass them out, you're going to be helping people.
Let me put one more offer out there for you, Rich.
Sure.
Anyone that contacts me from your show, I will send you a hand-signed and numbered copy of my book for $5.
You can't beat that.
It's $20 online. I'll send it to you for $5. It'll pay for the shipping for me because it costs $4.47 to ship it. You send me, and I'll tell you how to do that, but just call me, email me, LinkedIn me, and I'll send you a hand sign. I've sent out like 60, 80 copies hand signed. So I have no problem with that because you're on Rich Bennett's show.
Oh, man. Thanks, Ken. And you got to come back on when the next book comes out.
The next book is on respect and disrespect, and it's going to be
something very important to talk about.
Yes.
All right, so Ken, for my last question, which I have no idea what it's going to be, I need you to pick a number between 1 and 100.
Okay. 84.
And why 84?
Yeah, I graduated. I do everything 84.
Okay.
It makes it easy for me.
Funny thing is 80. I think it was in 84. I was out in Reno. Because I was in the Marine Corps. We went for cold weather training somewhere in California. And we were able to take a weekend and go to Reno.
Probably. Yeah, because you're up north for cold weather training. You probably, yeah,
Ooh.
definitely. You're over in Truckee or that whole area going over the I-80 pass. And then you come on down into the valley and you're in Washoe County and Reno, which is
it was fun, but we got in trouble, but that's another story. This is a good question. All right. So if you could experience one moment of pure wonder again, what would it be?
If I can experience it again?
One moment of pure wonder.
And this has to do with in 1984 or any?
No, that was the. See, there I have 100 different questions here. Okay. So you picked number 84. That was
1984. What thing of wonder? It would probably be. Great question. Just give me 1 second on that.
Sure, no problem. Oh, some of these questions blow me away.
Right. I don't know. This is going to sound a little weird, and I shouldn't put a disclaimer on a statement. So, my mother's passing away. I go down there to visit her. Stay with her a couple days. Go back to Anchorage. She's in Reno. About 2 or 3 days after I get back, I get a call. And they're like, you need to come back down. It's getting close. And I said, okay. And I'm sitting here with my mom and we're watching The Blob, Steve McQueen.
Oh, wow.
I don't know. I have a history with The Blob. Because they used to show The Blob every year, once a year in the 70s on this one movie time. And every year I watched The Blob with Steve McQueen. And we were watching The Blob. My mom has got congestive heart failure. She was to pass away actually the next day.
Wow.
And I remember she turned to me and she said, Kenneth, I want a pizza. And I said to her, Mom, you can't have pizza. You're not allowed to have pizza. And she said, Kenneth, I want a pizza. And I thought about it. God, I might start crying on this one, bro.
It's all right, man.
And I'm like, okay. I'll get you that pizza, Mom. I'm going to get you that pizza. And I went out there and I went and ordered a pizza and we came back. I came back. She's sitting in the chair and I'm in my other chair and get her a slice. And she might have took a bite or two out of it. And, we just talk about sublime. That's the term. Mm-hmm. It was a sublime moment. And it really was. It was just a joy. I think it was a joy because I was there. Yeah. I could be there. I could be present. Her only child. Wow. And be there for her in her last days. Because the next day, my mom did an assisted suicide under medical conditions. And it was 5 or 6 of us there, her friends who are also nurses. But we did assisted suicide and laid her to rest on her terms.
And she got.
And if anybody got a problem with it, you have a problem with it. Yeah. I don't have a problem with it because that's what she wanted. She said, Kenneth, I'm ready. Wow. And she wanted to see her ex-husband, a different one, Dennis. She wanted to be with him. She knew I was all right.
Yeah.
She wanted to live to make sure I was all right. And I'd been all right for, 4 years, 5 years, 6 years at that point. And she was ready. And she's in a lot of pain. And so we helped her in her transition. And it was beautiful. And so that's my hope. I hope that's not too morbid for anybody.
No, man. I'm just sitting there thinking, and that pizza was probably tasted the best ever to her, and probably you because that's something you remember.
Yep. When you asked for one that was, I was super close to my mom. She was just, when you meet people that good.
Mm-hmm.
And, this is the thing is when you hear people saying, for several, we may have an opinion on our mom or our dad or our sister or brother, but when you have people from outside say the same thing, oh, your mom was one of the nicest. I had one of my buddies, I didn't even know. He said, I used to call your mom when I was in college and talk to her because she's just such a nice lady. I'm like, you were? You talking about my mom?
Oh, I've heard that a lot about my parents.
Oh, that's cool.
It makes you feel, growing up, kids, and even as they got older, loved coming over here and they would just sit down and talk with them. But they were also afraid of them. So, well, Ken, I want to thank you so much, brother, man. It's been a true honor. And don't forget, you got to come back on again for the next one.
Just holler at me. Okay.
You got it, man. Thanks, brother.
Talk to you later.
Thank you for listening to Conversations with Rich Bennett. I hope you enjoyed today's episode and learned something from it as I did. If you'd like to hear more conversations like this, be sure to subscribe to the podcast so you never miss an episode. And if you have a moment, I'd love it if you could leave a review. It helps us reach more listeners and share more incredible stories. Don't forget to connect with us on social media or visit our website at conversationswithrichbennett.com for updates, giveaways, and more. Until next time, take care, be kind, and keep the conversations going. It takes a lot to put a podcast together, and my sponsors help out a lot, but I also have some supporters that actually help me when it comes to the editing software, the hosting, and so forth. There's a lot that goes into putting this together. So I want to thank them. And if you can, please visit their websites, visit their businesses, support them however you can. So please visit the following. Full Circle Boards. Nobody does charcuterie like Full Circle Boards. Visit them at fullcircleboards.com. Sincerely Sawyer Photography. Live in the moment. They'll capture it. Visit them at sincerelysawyer.com. The Joppatown Lions Club, serving the community since 1965. Visit them at joppatownlionsclub.org. And don't forget the E at the end of Joppatown because they're extraordinary.